Hello everyone and welcome to Code with Vinay. Today we are going to be writing a program that finds all the ways to partition a number. A partition of a number is a way of writing that number as the sum of smaller numbers. For example, 4 can be partitioned in 5 distinct ways. 4, 3 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 2 plus 1 plus 1, and finally 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. Two sums that differ only in the order of their summends are considered the same partition. If order matters, the sum becomes a composition. The order-dependent composition like 1 plus 3 is same as partition 3 plus 1, while 1 plus 2 plus 1 and 1 plus 1 plus 2 are the same partition as 2 plus 1 plus 1. So, the order of the numbers within a partition doesn't matter and we don't count duplicates. Let us discuss the logic of partitioning. We can define the set of all partitions of a positive integer n recursively as follows. The empty set is a partition of n. If p is the partition of n minus 1, then for any positive integer I, the set of p and p plus I is also a partition of n. In other words, to generate all partitions of a positive integer n, we can start with the empty set and then add any positive integer to each partition. Now I understand that this is easier said than done, so let's dive into some coding. So let's say the number we want to partition is n. So int n is equal to, let's say 4. And then we'll make a method which will actually do the partition. So we'll say partition n. This function partition will take an integer as input and print all the ways to partition that number. So we'll say public static void partition, and then we'll say int n. Now we need to write a recursive function that will do the actual work of finding all the partitions. This function will take 3 arguments: the number to partition, the maximum number that can be used in a partition, and a string that represents the current partition. So we'll overload our partition method, but right now we'll call our recursive function. So we'll say partition. We'll pass the number to be partitioned, that is n, the maximum parts in which it can be partitioned, which is again n. Remember, 4 is 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. And then finally, the string which will store the answer. Initially, it will be an empty string. Now it's time to define the actual method which will do the partitioning. So public static void partition. And then we'll pass our 3 arguments: the number to partition, that is int n, the maximum number that can be used in a partition, that is int max, and a string that represents the current partition, that is the string which will hold the answer, that is answer. The base case of the recursion is when n is equal to 0. And in this case, we can just print the current partition and return. So we'll say if n is equal to 0, we'll just print and return. So system.out.println answer, and then we'll return. Note that we are not returning any value because the function return type is void. For the recursive case, we need to try all the possible ways to partition n. We'll do this by looping from 1 to min of max and n. Let's do it. We'll say for int I is equal to math.minimum, and we'll say max comma n, and then the loop will go till 1. So till I is more than or equal to 1, we'll keep on saying I minus minus. I would like to emphasize that we are writing math.min max comma n to avoid repetition. If you want repetition, that is, you want 1 plus 2 as well as 2 plus 1, you can replace this math.min max comma n by simply n, and then you'll get the repetition. That is, you'll get permutation rather than the combinations. For each value of I, we'll call the recursive function with n minus I, and our answer, that is answer plus I. So let's do it. We'll say partition, and we'll pass n minus I, and our answer, and we would like the answer to look good. So we'll say answer followed by a plus sign followed by I, and then we'll just reformat the code. So with this, our code is complete. Let's execute and see if it's working properly or not. So we'll go up, we'll say run Java program, and there we are. We are getting the correct answer, that is 4, 3 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 2 plus 1 plus 1, and finally 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. But I'm not liking this leading plus sign, so let's get rid of that. So what we'll do is, where we are printing the answer, we'll say dot substring 1. And this will take the substring from 1 till the end. Let's run this once more. So we'll go up, we'll run the program once more. And there we are getting our output without the leading plus. And that's it. You can now find all the ways to partition a number. I hope you found this video helpful. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, happy coding. Your feedback is valuable to me. I want to make sure that my videos are clear and helpful. You can follow me on the internet on any one or all of these channels.